Welcome to the International Film Club podcast. Joining me today is Aaron Rivera, special guest to discuss the amazing Spider-Man 2. Welcome, Aaron.
Hey, Tim.
So,
Sorry. Yeah, it seems like we've been talking all night.
I'm sorry, my voice. I feel like I have a sore throat. Just been talking too much.
Yeah.
So we just did 2.5 hours of programming, and now we're going to do a final little bit here in Spider-Man. I had a marathon yesterday where I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2, followed by Captain America 2, followed by Godzilla. So,
Well, that's all the movies.
It was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that's normally what we do. We go to the drive-in, and they always have a triple feature. So
Yeah.
that's where I watch Spider-Man.
Okay, gotcha. So, how familiar were you with the original Amazing Spider-Man?
I was familiar enough. I mean, I actually watched it a few times. I thought that was a really great movie.
It is really great. As I talked about in my standalone little review thing, that movie works for me because the chemistry between Peter Parker's character and Gwen Stacy's character, it seems authentic.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I really noticed because it seemed like in the first Spider-Man trilogy that the relationship between the Mary Jane and Peter Parker didn't really seem, I don't know, it was kind of off. Yeah, but this one seems authentic. Yeah,
and I guess they're boyfriend girlfriends in real life. So
oh, really?
That's probably part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of.
We're gonna spoil stuff, so forewarning. Beep, 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 spoiler alert. We're going to ruin this movie, so don't watch this or listen to this if you haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. So we're going to talk about stuff that gets pretty in-depth and spoil stuff. So, boom. That said, it'll be a little bit weird since she's killed off.
Yeah, that was such a crazy part. No one saw that coming. I was like, what?
I had a foreboding thing, because in the comic books, I know Gwen Stacy dies, and then Mary Jane is next.
Yeah, I never read The Amazing Spider-Man.
I didn't either, but I knew that was a thing in the comic books as just knowledge. So, and then when it's like at the end when she's there, it's like, oh no, she's there, and just Spider-Man and her and the villain. She's no way she's making through this. I mean.
Yeah, so one of the things I really liked about The Amazing Spider-Man, I never really followed the comics, but I did like how it was a little bit more dark. It seemed like a lot of these comic movies are kind of taking that turn, you know. It seemed more real and just kind of like they were dealing with like heavier stuff. And then I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go now that she died. It's kind of like, because she was kind of keeping Peter Parker like, you know, like he was kind of upbeat and playful and like.
Yep.
And then now it's like, well, like, how's he going to be?
Well, Mary Jane's going to be introduced next, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I don't want
Mary
Jane.
Like, think about this for a second, Aaron. Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, if you just watch those, it feels like a complete story. Because at the end of that movie, he's back to his good old self, he's fighting villains, and you can kind of leave it at that. You know there's more villains in the future, but it's a concise story with him and Gwen. And the story ends with Gwen dying. But there are 4 movies planned, so I'd imagine you'll have Mary Jane in number 3 and 4, and then we'll see where they go from there.
Yeah. What doesn't seem complete, though, that, you know, where the story is going to continue, of course, is a story about his father and the whole thing with Oscorp.
Which was never in any of the comic books.
That wasn't in there at all.
No.
Interesting.
Because Spider-Man, it was accidental. He wasn't the chosen one. He was just a random geeky kid.
Well, they had the regular Spider-Man and then the Amazing Spider-Man. What was the differences there? I don't know.
Just a different comic book thing, but it's still, he was never just the chosen one. And the movies turned it into that, where he's the only blood that would work to become Spider-Man.
But it just happened. Well, his father had kind of made the code that way to where it would only work with his blood, is what he said in the memo.
But that's all movie stuff. That's not in the comic book at all. Which, regardless, I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
The way this opens, though, I'm trying to think back to the opening kind of scenes here. He's basically just doing his thing on his way to the graduation, right?
Yeah, so there was a big kind of chase scene where Paul Giamatti, and I really don't like that actor.
No.
Yeah, I never have. He he was, it looked like he was trying to get away with some plutonium
Yeah.
there,
As
and
one does.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I don't know why like anyone would be transporting this in like a regular like semi truck through like the city. It was weird. But yeah,
But it
he's
did get you right to the action and like, oh, we're back in the Spider-Man's world.
yeah. And so the police are all going around, and they can't really catch this guy. And yeah, Spider-Man's kind of going through, and he ends up kind of saving the day, but he's late to his no, he shows up on his graduation right on time, but he missed Gwen Stacy's speech.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
And it's a peculiar peculiar parallelism where in the first movie, Peter listens to the voicemail from his uncle or stepfather, uncle, right?
from his voicemail.
At the end. Come on, Aaron.
I don't remember the voicemail from his
The
uncle.
voicemail, his dad figure in his life, Uncle Ben, calls him and leaves a message on his cell phone, and he doesn't hear that until the very end of the movie.
This was at the end of the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember that now. Yeah.
So that happens in the first one, and in this one, he watches Gwen's speech. I couldn't help but notice, wow, that is very similar to...
Yeah, I never even thought of that, but yeah, it was very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. You did have a lot of that, just drawing connections between the movies. And then, let's see. He doesn't go emo in this movie like the original trilogy guy does when he breaks up. He just kind of... Like in the original movie, the web power of Spider-Man was if his heart was into it, he would be able to shoot the webs. This Spider-Man is more like the comic book where it's a mechanical device that shoots these webs out. And he seemed to be okay with the separation to keep Gwen safe. And,
Sort of, because
Until the end when
he kind of like...
stalked her.
Yeah, he kind of made it happen, and then he like stalked her for a while and like followed her to certain places, like she's meeting up with friends, and then when they do kind of start to work things out a little ways in, then he kind of like reveals that he had been following her and stuff. So yeah.
And in that scene, it's the park scene. It's kind of funny about the let's be friends thing. It's like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's gonna develop into something more. And right before he has to take off, she says, "I'm going to England." And at the end of the movie, Peter basically, I don't want to say Peter killed her, but Peter killed her almost by saying the I love you thing there and bringing her back. She would have been on her way to England and...
Well, he didn't really bring her back.
Down.
No, he didn't bring her back. That was her own choice, and she made that clear right before she went into that clock tower. She said, "This isn't on you. This is my choice. I'm here because I want to be here."
At the same time, though, he flung in on the bridge and grabbed her and brought her up to the top there.
Well, he brought her up. Yeah, he brought her up to the top of the bridge, but that was before all this stuff had happened. So,
and then he stuck her to the car. It's like she's gonna get out of that and chase after you.
Yeah, but he was trying to do what he could to keep her away, and she went. She got out of that, and then she drove over there.
She did. She's very determined.
Yeah, so that was her own fault.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But it was a really great movie. I thought that the villain in this was just, it was awesome because it seemed like the villain, as much as he had like a really kind of crazy power, he like he fell into, well, we should probably go back even further. It's basically
we didn't even discuss the villain, which was really well done, I feel.
Yeah. So he was basically, what was his name? I forget.
Oh, if you forget his name, you're going to go crazy.
I know. Yeah, he's gonna come get me.
And it was somebody in the elevator was like, "You remember my name? A girl remembered my name." The whole theater was laughing.
So he was saved by Spider-Man during the first scene.
Yeah,
like their first little chase scene when the movie started.
And Spider-Man remembered the blueprints and everything. That was kind of interesting.
And then when he saved him, he said, "I need you.
I depend on your eyes."
Yeah. So it made him feel really special. And then when you see him in his home, he's like he's talking to himself, and it's like his birthday, and he's like, Spider-Man needs me, and all this is kind of crazy. And then Gwen Stacy, Gwen Stacy sees him, and as you said, like remembers his name. And I thought that was something that they were going to kind of play on, like kind of later on, that she was going to be in a situation and he was going to like save her because, you know, he would like remembered her, but never really played out.
No, because it almost played out as, now you hate me, like.
Yeah, and then, oh yeah,
yeah.
He like falls into the tank of like
that
heels.
Scene reminded me a lot of Batman, 1989 Batman Joker transformation scene. Do you remember that movie where he drops into the acid and then he turns into Joker?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, a little bit. There's some similarities, yeah. And then his body, like, I guess he's like dead and they try to hide it, and he ends up coming back, and then he's Electro, and he can like go through circuits and stuff, and he can see like
at
all
first he wasn't able to do that, but then he learned his true potential.
Yeah.
And he basically became an Invisible Man that could do anything.
Yeah. And then he has that like scene where he doesn't even know his own power. He's just like, he doesn't know what's going on. And then
yeah, and he accidentally did stuff and cops are giving him a hard time.
Yeah. Which was like a really awesome scene, like cinematically, because they're like, I mean, when it like slowed down and, you know, Spider-Man had to like choose how he was going to save all those people there, and yeah, that was pretty awesome. I wish I could have seen that in 3D, that scene.
Yeah, I saw it in 2D.
Yeah.
As far as the other villain, Peter's old friend, Harry, what'd you think about Harry's hair?
You mean before
the comb over?
That was weird.
What the heck?
It seemed like he was really sickly, like through. Well, he was a little bit, but not this bad. Yeah.
No, it's like, give him normal hair. I mean, that seems that was the only part of this movie that really made me irked. Like, really, you're gonna give him weird villainous hair?
Yeah. He even kind of talked like it from the start when you see him. He's just like, just seems like a bad guy. And then like the thing that I found was kind of weird was that the friendship, they kind of gave that little bit of backstory. It seemed really forced. Like, it didn't seem like they were really friends, you know. So
yeah. Live feedback as far as they're making sequels, 3 and 4 have been announced. So that's something that I'm curious to see where they'll take it from there. So as far as this guy, Harry, he just saw his father die on the same disease that will kill him one day. And he kind of has a panic attack and tries to figure out how to save himself. And he stumbles upon spider venom, and he, for whatever reason, believes this to be the only thing in the world to be able to save him.
yeah.
He didn't seem to go through all the files. Like, he didn't seem to, like...
Yeah, it's kind of latched onto that one thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was more in there, but... yeah, and then he, like... what was the situation that kind of led to him? Oh, yeah, he finds that they're kind of holding Electro. Or he sees the security tapes, and basically the board kind of forces them out at that point because they put Electro into prison under his name. So it's kind of like he was trying to cover it up, and so they force him out of the company. And then he kind of teams up with Electro, and you know, he's like, if you get me in here so that I can go in and get the spider venom, then I will let you have full access to the grid, because apparently the hub was Osborn.
His son. Now, do you think him saying, "I depend on you, I need you," do you think that was accidental to get into his mentality of what he wanted to hear?
Yeah, I don't think he knew that that's what he would respond to, but it just happened to be that, because he was so desperate at that time, because he had already lost his position, he was going to die, and that was like his last attempt. He was like, "I need you," and then as soon as he heard that, he's like, "You need me?" And so, yeah.
Now, when they do break in and he gets the venom, um, I guess he's healed because of the venom, right? But the venom is going to kill him, so he gets in the Green Goblin suit that heals him. So
I don't
he has
think
to
he
live
was
in the
healed
suit.
at all.
What?
I don't think he was healed at all by the venom. I think the venom just acted like poison, like it was going to kill him. That's why he had to get into the suit, because the suit had the healing power.
So I thought he had the healing power of the venom, but the venom was still killing him for another thing. Like, he was healed of that abnormality DNA thing, but he was dying because of the venom, so he had to get in the suit.
And the way that I saw it is that the venom did have the capability of curing, but it would only work with Peter Parker's bloodline. So that's why when he, used it, then it started to kill him. So he's like, I have to get in the suit, because in the files when he was going through, the only other one he looked at on his dad's research was the suit, and he knew that it had like restorative powers or whatever.
So now he has to live in the suit for the rest of his life.
Yeah, like Samus.
Well, it's free suit Samus.
Zero suit. Yeah. Still a suit, though.
It's true. Now, do you think if he just went in that suit, would that have healed him of the genetic thing?
I don't know. He probably should have tried that first before. Because now he's got crazy hair and messed up teeth and his skin's green.
Yeah, he's not going to, marry.
No. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, it's kind of So, let's see. What do you think about the whole Gwen's father coming back and haunting Peter throughout this movie?
Yeah, that was interesting because it didn't seem relevant until she died. Because it happened a lot.
Foreboding that happening.
Yeah,
the whole movie.
It happened a lot at the beginning, and then it kind of just went away. And then when she died, you're like, oh man. And then you kind of think about it because, yeah, like as you said, it's kind of leading up to that, and it's like you better watch her.
Now, the most heart-wrenching thing is that ending there. They're such a perfect tag team of working together with, wait to turn that switch until I'm ready, and then just lines it perfectly, and like they seem to be perfect team. And then, Peter places her down there in that dangerous area. But that was pretty much the only place she could have put her, right?
Yeah, but the thing that I thought was like, why didn't he just save her? It's like he had his foot in those gears, and he's like, he was trying to save, like what was he doing? Trying to save Electro, because he was kind of like stuck by those gears. Is that what it seemed like? Sure.
And do we know if Electro ended up dying at the end there? Or no, Green Goblin, right? Green Goblin's what's ended up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was trying to save.
Green Goblin came in, and now that whole thing happened.
Yeah, he was trying to save his friend Harry, kind of.
Because did Green Goblin die there?
I don't think he died.
I wasn't sure if that happened or not.
Yeah, but
but that scene when she's falling is so heart-wrenching because it's kind of in slow motion. You see the web hits, but you also see her head hit the concrete down there.
She jerks back really hard.
Like he was like half a second late. Like it's so
not even half a second. It's
heart-wrenching. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like what if she reached up for the web and grabbed it instead of depending on it hitting her?
Yeah.
Would that have saved her?
She's pretty helpless. She was falling. She was in free fall. There's nothing you can do. It was all up to him. He dropped the ball.
He has great aim, though. I'll tell you that aim.
Yeah, he went through all those like breaking gears and stuff.
He's got good aim.
He got those spider senses.
It didn't matter though. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Man, but that ending, it's like, if I watched that at home again, I'd probably be crying because if I watched both those movies back together, I'd probably be crying pretty badly. I didn't cry at the movie, but I was pretty shaken up a little bit.
No, I don't know. It's
he
hard.
He did get depressed, super depressed. He got a little bit depressed.
But why doesn't he just tell his aunt what's going on? Like, hey, my dad did not run off with the stuff. He was not a terrorist.
Keep her out of the loop to be safe, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then you have throughout the movie. Sorry. It's late. Sorry. You have throughout the movie her aunt trying to figure out how to pay for Peter's college and that being a really tough thing.
Yeah, what is going on there? I don't know.
So Peter's going to college, we presume, in the next movie, right?
I don't know. That was kind of weird because it was something that they brought up, and it's like I kind of felt like, why isn't he doing something? I feel like Spider-Man could do something to get help out with the costs around the house and stuff, but
He was spending some photo money.
yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I really did enjoy it. So the end of it, I find it bizarre that you let Harry Osborn speak to another villain in their cell to conspire for future evil doings. That seems like that shouldn't happen. If
Oh yeah, yeah.
a little bizarre.
Yep.
And but he eventually shook out of it. What do you know? What caused him to shake out of his kind of depressed? I killed my girlfriend mood.
Yes, he listened to Gwen Stacy's speech.
That's what did it.
Because he was in his room, and it was really messy. And then he saw the flash drive sitting there, and it said Gwen's speech.
Mm-hmm.
So he plugged that in his computer and watched it. And the speech was, talking about sacrifices and doing what's best for the good of people rather than yourself, being selfless.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Gwen's mom, we didn't really see much of at all. She's kind of there,
one scene.
What?
One scene was when the graduation, and she's
and
like, "Come over
dinner
here."
Thing.
Dinner.
When they broke up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'd imagine at the funeral she was there too, but no big.
Oh yeah, she was there at the funeral. Yeah, she didn't have a big part though.
But yeah, it seemed like Peter and my mom never really talked about what happened at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did he explain that?
Yeah, she's dead. Did she get ran over by a bus? Did she fell in the clock tower?
Well, why isn't people why aren't people going after Spider-Man? Hey, what happened to this girl? She, it's like wherever you go, or wherever Spider-Man goes, someone in that family dies.
Yeah,
the dad and the daughter.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a mess. Wrote off, but yeah, I was happy. A lot of movies would have probably just ended it with her dying, and that's it. I was kind of happy they kind of propelled it past that to show where this is heading, and that Spider-Man's not going to be emo in the next movie, and he'll be back to his normal self, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they pre-announced a whole lineup of villains for the next movie, Rhino and all these other guys.
Oh, we saw Rhino.
We saw Rhino. The villain from the original Spider-Man 2, the Octo dude, was shown in there a little bit. So I'm curious how many of these
that was really cool, I thought.
Yeah.
So they showed the Dr. Octopus suit when Harry is going down to get that spider venom.
They showed it again at the end of the movie too.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how many of these villains will show up. Will it be like a 5-villain movie or something?
I don't know. I don't really like when they throw a whole lot of villains in there. I like to see, a couple, but not a whole lot. I feel like it kind of detracts from each of their stories.
Yeah. So Mary Jane, I could see them meeting at college in the next movie kind of thing.
Possibly, yeah.
So, anyways, any final thoughts on this heart-wrenching movie?
No, it was good. I feel like I need to watch it again now.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for iTunes on that. It makes me want to watch the first movie more, though, again, because I feel like chemistry is better in the first movie because it was like a new love kind of thing, and you had more of that chemistry happening. You had some really magical moments in the second movie with Gwen and Peter, but less of it, I feel.
Yeah, I think there was less of it, but I think the parts in the second one stand out more than the first ones for me because it seemed more true to life. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it seemed more like those were real situations that people would actually go through. The breakup seemed really authentic, and then kind of when they were starting to get back together, trying to be friends, that seemed like a real life interaction. So,
absolutely. Yep. So thank you, Aaron, for joining me this late night here. But I want to talk about Spider-Man because it's awesome. It's amazing.
Now you're going to play the game.
Yeah, now I can actually play the game, so I have to buy it. When it's on sale for $10, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at ALRivera239 on Twitter.
Very cool.
That's about it.
My username is TCHATEN. Thanks for tuning in this week, and me and Alex Barker will be discussing. I watched it the other night. Oh yes, Tombstone tomorrow. So
Old school.
yeah. So, anyways, we'll be back at some point. I'm sure you'll be joining us again for movie talk. So, thanks for joining me, and have a good night, everybody. Bye.
All right. See ya.